All right, let's talk about the different benefits of being a freelancer versus being an employee as a software engineer. First of all, hi, I'm Max. I am a software engineer as a solution architect working in the telecom industry. Now, before I get into it, I should preface this by saying that I personally went out on freelance and running my own business. The first thing I did, the first projects I did outside of school were freelance projects for smaller companies and agencies in town. And eventually I scaled that to a business and started another business with a friend. So that's my background, and I am not in any way biased towards that being the best thing. I think there's a lot of pros and cons in both ways, but that's the way I chose in the beginning. But now I've been employed for about 6 years at different companies, so I have that experience as well. If you want to know more about my experience, check out my past video that I did talking about just that. But first of all, let's talk about the different benefits of working as an employee as a software engineer. There's a lot of great things I think you can learn as an employee versus being on your own. The first one, and I think this is the most important one, is being able to work in a team, like learning how to work in a team. That means learning how to collaborate, learning how to help each other out when we're struggling, learning how to use each other's strengths, solving problems, and being able to give and receive constructive and healthy feedback. It's a really important one. And I think this is a big one because if you want to build something great, if you want to build something really good and big, you need people. You can get very far on your own, but you will never be able to reach the same size or impact unless you have a team of great people. So that's a big one. The next one is work structure and task splitting, or working in different tasks of different sizes. This is a lot easier to learn as an employee. I struggled with this a lot in the beginning. I think a lot of people don't like structuring their work, they just want to do work. But a big thing that you can learn as an employee when you're working in projects, either in a business or as a consultant, part of a team, is to take big chunks of work, a feature or a delivery, breaking that down into smaller tasks that are much more manageable and doable in a short period of time. What that allows you to do is to track progress and know exactly what you're supposed to do over time, but also analyze the feature and understand that, okay, so this feature requires us to do these kinds of UI changes and this API integration and these different functions that need to live in this repository. So it's about breaking down a huge thing into smaller chunks to be able to understand what it's supposed to be the different parts that make it up. And also, if you're working in a team, this is really, really important because the team has to know what it's supposed to be doing. So you need to be able to split up the tasks in the team so that people can pick tasks as they are working throughout the weeks. So that's also a very important one. The next one is code structure and version controlling. Now, I personally have always been very pedantic when it comes to code structure, and of course my code structure has changed and improved over the years, and it's much simpler in a lot of ways now. But I was really not that great on version control when I was younger, and I was struggling out on my own. And a big part of version controlling is to be able to split up different work packets and different deliveries in smaller chunks and committing them as you go along. That allows you to go back in your history to track your own work. And of course, it's cool to be able to check your progress and see how you progress and the different features you're building. But most importantly, you get to go back when there's a bug and find a very, very narrow scope of what happened at this point. Because that's something that you can do if you deliver a small change out to production. If that change is so small, it's a small commit, then you know that that is specifically what broke. Or it can be at a specific part of the code that breaks something. So it's really good to be able to version control your changes in that way. Because then you can just go back in history and know exactly this commit is what caused the issue. Adapting to existing structures and preferences is also a big lesson. When you are an employee and you go into a new team, or you go and work for a new product or a new service in the company, or you're a consultant working for a company going into a new client project, you need to be able to adapt to the existing structure that exists and the different technological choices that I've made, and be able to work with that. It's really, really crucial for your work, and being able to do that, learning to adapt to that and not, tear your hair out because you think they're the stupidest people that you've worked with that's what being professional is all about, really. So that's a big lesson as well. And it's not as easy to do that when you're a freelancer, because when you're a freelancer, it's a lot more about delivering something and then let it go. But when you're a freelancer, it's also important to do the kind of prerequisite work or the due diligence to understand who is going to maintain this code, so that there's not a bunch of teams of Java developers and you go and give them C# code and they're like, what am I supposed to do with this? So that's also a really good lesson from being an employee, because it's not as easy to do that when you are striking out on your own. And the final one is connecting business value with your IT solutions. And why I think this is a big thing for working as an employee is when you are part of a team and you're working in a agile organization, for example, you're working in DevOps, whatever, you will have the business aspect, or the actual business. They will come and give you features to work on, or specifically, they will give you a business value, so to say. They will say, we want to be able to do this. We want to be able to give the user this information, or give them this product or this service or this function inside of this service. And then it's up to your project manager, your product owner, your team lead, whatever, to take that information and break it down into different features or different tasks that he or she then communicates to your team, and then you get to break that down into even smaller tasks. And that business value is something you get to see and understand, because sometimes it's not as obvious. Your project lead or product owner, whatever you have, might not want to communicate too much because it's not really it's not necessary for you to know everything, but it's also good if you do. So it's good to be able to ask those questions and understand what is the actual value we're delivering here, because then you can make better decisions on how you program, how you solve problems, but also maybe even realize that this solution will not hold for this specific value. What you want is this, but we are trying to give you this through this solution. Maybe we should do it this way. That way we can really deliver this value long term. Really good lesson as an employee. So as a summary for being an employee, I would say, first one, learning to work in a team through collaboration and learning to both take and give healthy and constructive feedback. How to structure your work and breaking it down into small tasks and tracking that over time. How to structure your code and use version control to better manage changes and features. Adapting to existing structures and tech stack, as well as connecting to business value, connecting your technical choices or your IT solutions to the business value. These are the biggest things that I would say you can learn as an employee versus being a freelancer. Of course, not everything is completely exclusive, but I think it's much easier to gain that experience as an employee. Now, in terms of freelance and running your own business, there are some things that you get to benefit from going that path. The first one I would say is that you get to choose what you work on. And this might not at the beginning be something that is as easy to do, but as you progress, you create your portfolio, and you create a body of work and references, then you will be able to gain more projects and new clients, and you get to choose who you work with, which is a big thing. So that is a big benefit that I experienced as well after some time. The next thing that I think is really big is that you get to earn a lot more. That's a huge benefit for freelance. And it's not necessarily that you automatically do earn a lot more, it's that you have the potential and the space to be able to do that. And mostly it's about the fact that you are not limited from the amount of work you do. Because the more work you do at your employment does not mean more money right now. It means potentially a raise, but that raise is also based on different things. Whereas if you put in more work or work on multiple projects, then you earn more. Of course, your salary will probably be less by the hour compared to the kind of hourly rate you'll be able to charge for projects. And also, as you gain more experience and you get more clients with more technically advanced projects or industries that has more money or requires different kind of experience and knowledge, you'll be able to charge more as well. So that's also a big benefit. Also, you can connect more with different kinds of companies from different parts of the world. This is a thing that I really enjoyed, collaborating with agencies and other companies as a freelancer, offloading their work and be able to collaborate on projects from clients all around the world is not something I think is as common as an employee, because you're much more restricted to the company policies and how your company works compared to when you're working on your own. So this is a huge thing. I got to work with international clients and travel and do a lot of fun stuff. So that's definitely a huge benefit for freelancing. And finally, of course, this is probably the biggest one that people will talk about, which is controlling your own time. You will have more control over your time. You can choose whenever you work. Now that is also not necessarily just a benefit. It comes with the requirement of discipline and structure in your work, which is something that might not be as easy in the beginning. So you will have to learn how to structure your work and be disciplined to do the work when you set out to do it. But control over your own time, that freedom, definitely the biggest, actually, I would say, over all the other benefits from freelance or running your own business. So in summary, for freelance, the benefits I would say are you get a lot more say in the work you do and the clients you take on. You can earn a lot more and manage that money as well much more easily within your company. You can get much more international experience working with clients from all around the world through collaborations and so on. And finally, you have a lot more control over your own time. So now that we've gone through both of the different ways to be a software engineer that we set out to do, I'd like to summarize it all. And I would say that the benefit of working in a company as an employee in general is that you get to focus a lot more on the processes and the code, the technical things. Yeah, I have a dog here as well. He's always here. You get to learn more about working in teams and create small but very specific solutions for your company or client as a consultant. Now, as a freelancer on the other hand, or individual consultant, you benefit through the freedom of choosing your projects, controlling your time, having more possibilities to work internationally, and earning more for your time. So in the end, what should you choose if you want to choose anything? As you can probably make out for yourself, comes down to your goals, what it is that you want to do, and kind of where you are in life. Could your current life situation take the risk of running your own business? Maybe where you want to make more money, have the freedom to control your own time, or maybe it's always just been your dream to run your own thing, then go do that. Or maybe you're looking to become a really great software engineer and really go down to the technical details and learn the most interesting technical details about how to work with distributed systems through sharding databases and partitioning and how you do with single leader versus multi-leader. Yeah, you get it. You can definitely get really nerdy if you do the employment route. Maybe you lack experience working in a team. You might feel like you have a gap in that skill set of delivering a full-size, software product and then maintaining that over time, which is not as common when you're freelancing. Then do that. That's definitely a really fun way to go deep on software engineering. For me, I chose to run my own business at the beginning of my 20s because I felt that it was the right time. I didn't have any expenses at all, basically. I lived at home. I didn't have kids. I didn't have a house or apartment. I basically could just start from nothing and start creating a body of work by building stuff that I loved doing through programming. So it was the right time for me, and I wouldn't do it any other way if I had to do it again. But it's not the right thing for everybody. So just choose the thing that feels right for you and the thing that you want. Make sure you have fun, but also be strategic in your choices so that you do something that can benefit you over time. But that's it. That's the video I wanted to make. I hope this was valuable. If there's anything I missed, feel free to share in the comments. And I also love to hear what you're doing. If you're thinking about going into freelance, or if you're thinking of going from freelance to employment, do let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for watching.